one of the things that we get asked the most with Rupert is, whose baby is it? And when we were in Malaysia, we kind of just went with whoever he had last called Mama and was like clinging on to.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, yeah, mine or hers.
Yeah, because you feel a bit more similar to some country, and like you already feel like the question's already quite loaded with the expectation that it's just one of us. Whereas here, in Thailand, you feel more akin to be like, oh, we're both mothers. And they're like, those two dads.
Yeah, I think when we first arrived here at the hotel, they have like a lot of welcoming, like they give you welcome drinks and the
Little
people are very
bracelets.
little bracelet.
Felt a little bit
and
like
you get charmed.
Felt a little bit like the opening scene of like the like Netflix show White Lotus. Is it called the White Lotus?
Yeah,
Lotus Hotel or
the White Lotus.
Yeah. Doing that like welcome, and then it's like these are your activities, and it's like, look, darling, what should we do?
And Claudia's
And
like,
I thought it
someone's
was
going
like-
to get murdered.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I feel like one of these characters.
Who's dying?
It's like scene
Let's
setting.
stick around, try and work it out. Oh my goodness. But one of the people who came over is the reservations guy who like takes reservations to see who's going in each restaurant. And he came up to me and was like, oh my goodness, I love your dress, wow, you look amazing, lovely. Are you the mother of this child? I can't believe you've given birth to this child. Oh my goodness. And
Obviously, like, you know, totally could believe that I had.
I'm really bad at like responding to these questions. Then it's just like, I can't believe that you have given birth specifically. Because I'm like, then you cannot tell from looking at a person's body whether or not they've given birth. And I was really awkward about it. So I just kind of automatically went, we're both his mothers.
Yeah.
Which also tells you nothing.
My dad's here too.
And then you just went,
So it's like,
oh, I'm like backed.
yeah, we're trying to work out
I'm
what
like-
it is. It's like, we're not just travelling alone, it's like with my dad, and like,
Yeah, your dad, who is white, just for people who don't know, her dad is the white parent.
yeah. And then like, I'm clearly like, when I get tanned, I think I look even more mixed. And then there's Rupert, who clearly looks a little bit mixed. And then there's you, who like is like could be got like the slight features of maybe not
Sometimes
sure.
I get asked, whether I'm here visiting my family, and I'm like, by marriage. So
No one has mistaken Dad to be one of our husbands though, so that's thankful. That used to happen when me and my sister were younger, and when my dad was younger, I should say.
that's horrific.
Yeah.
Your dad is like 75. No, that's not okay.
Look at happily bit much drawing over there.
He is. He calls colouring.
Just
Barbie
having that
at the moment.
I thought we'd film whilst he's napping, and then obviously he woke up just before we sat down.
The second we sat down.
I'd given him a bottle, a colouring book, a stacking thing, and he was like, up with the book. So he's got plenty, and anyway,
It's a phonics book.
his
If you didn't
favourite
get
thing
that.
is his Barbie
Eight
colouring
book.
book. His favourite thing is his Barbie colouring
Oh, yeah.
book.
It is very much the Barbie colouring
I was like,
book.
you want to do some colouring? And he was like, yeah, Barbie. And I was like, oh, that's the one I
And
didn't
you're like,
pack.
oh, I packed the fruits one. I packed.
That's another thing. It's not like LGBT travelling, but about gender like
Oh my
stereotypes.
goodness.
That's the massive way out here. Like, so we bought him a bracelet to stop him fiddling with our rings, and everyone was like, "Is he a boy or a girl?" I was like, "Why does it matter?" And like, a lot of them were like, "Well, boys don't really wear bracelets, and if they are going to wear a bracelet, this is the bracelet. This is like a plain."
So we're just like, oh, bracelets will be annoying for a boy.
They won't want to play with it. It'll be annoying for
Okay.
them.
A bracelet will be annoying for a boy, but they will like an anklet, and a girl will want a bracelet.
Yeah. And then also just like the fact you picked up a Barbie book.
They're 18 months old. Like,
We were like, yeah, you want that? We just let him choose whatever book he wanted in the colouring book. And he's like, yeah, I want this Barbie book 'cause it's got like people in it, and he really likes people. And so we were like, yeah, that's fine. And people were a bit like, really nice to get a Barbie book. What else is it like?
buying him
So
clothes.
we bought him a little. He wanted a little like bag because he saw a girl having like a little bag, and he was like, oh, that girl's got her own bag. That's so cool. I want my own bag. And he's been saying all holiday that he wants a bag. So we went into a shop just now. We asked, do you have any children's bags? And she was like,
Is it a boy
Is
or
it
a
a boy
girl?
or a girl? I was like, he's a boy, but he likes bags. And she was like, I was gonna say like we also realised that we didn't have any like summer clothes for him in his size, and loads of shops weren't selling them in England 'cause it's like not in season. So anyway, I got the I did a mass order, didn't I, of like whatever I could find, and found like a bulk buy of t-shirts, which when we got here we realised were way too thick because they're basically designed for like British springtime, I guess. Anyway, you found this one. This is actually
He's wearing a vest right now.
a vest for a four-year-old, but it's effectively like a tank top for him. So yeah, we just had to kind of think outside the box in terms of his clothing, and just buy a lot of female, like girl clothes. We're just talking to the people.
Yes, you're talking to the people.
You want to say?
You just look past the camera like,
What people?
what people?
Want to say hello? Waving. He's just staring.
He's looking past the camera like,
In this particular hotel that we're staying in as well, which is a 5-star resort, the JW Marriott. There's a lot of quite well-to-do people, Americans. Yeah, I mean, can I just say we booked this as a treat to ourselves, and also on a Black Friday sale where we saved like 30%. Anyway, it's not the point. Point is just well for people who come out here for like, we spoke to one couple, they said they were out here for like a month just in this hotel, and the majority of people, I would say, with children have a nanny. And then they must, and then Jessica keeps saying, they probably think I'm like some really fancy pants like white nanny.
It's not the first time I've been asked. I think it's the way I dress.
Okay.
But this happens every couple of months. Someone will be like, "Are you his nanny? Are you an autumn nanny?"
Sorry,
Do
I just grabbed the.
Are you an autumn nanny? They get really excited. There's generally women who are like, I'm going to say in their 50s
When you walked along
or 60s bracket,
in
age
the
bracket. I'm like, hello.
when we had that old-fashioned buggy, we still have it.
Yes.
Okay. I'm bored of the people. I'm bored of talking to people. Okay.
Get up.
Okay. I get up. Mama will talk to the people. All right. Don't knock it over.
That's what happens when you try and grab a moment to film. I think one of the most interesting things about traveling with children is just having to readjust your expectations of what you think it will be like. But it also means that we've had to just adjust expectations in terms of even filming. As much as Claudia would love to be able to be taking lots of photos every single day, and everywhere we're looking around and like, oh my god, this is gorgeous, this is beautiful, this is amazing, and we feel like we should be, kind of working more, just more, and making like reels and taking photos that are really fancy, and using the proper camera, and even just putting stuff out is really hard to do whilst we're here as well. Because it's a lot more about family and creating, hello Ruru, and creating those core memories for him. I'd be one minute. Yeah, we're gonna go play. We play basketball. Sure, we can do. This trip is a lot more about creating core memories and family time. This morning we are off to a wildlife park. Very exciting. I'm intrigued to see what kind of wildlife there will be.
Yeah. I've been telling Rupert since last night we're going to see an animal park. It's been animal park, animal park, animal park.
Yeah. We did also tell him he had to nap in the car before we got to the animals. Which one wasn't too keen on until we explained that we just wouldn't get there unless he napped. And now he's napping. So, ho, that worked. Do you know, is that a mum lie? That might be a mum lie, I do.
No, we didn't lie, we were honest. We said that
we
it was a
were
half an hour
honest.
drive, time to have a nap. When you wake up, we'll be at the animal park. And he was just like, okay, and literally 1 minute later, he's like,
Keep going on this road. I'm so sorry, darling, there are no instructions. It's just the road. So Langkawi is an island that has, it feels, 3 roads on it. So
you can drive around the whole island in 3 hours. It's pretty small.
So when Google gives you directions, it's literally just get on this road, drive.
Yeah. To be fair, it's like, do you want to go this way or this way? It's about 30 minutes each way.
You're like, okay, I guess I'll go left. And then you just drive. And that's it. And Claudia keeps asking me for more directions. And I'm like, I've got nothing for you.
There are turnings every now and again.
Drive. The turnings are for people's houses.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it. Or a hotel. Or another kind of activity.
There was like a black honeybee farm.
But in 2 minutes, there's the turning to the wildlife park. So
Yay! Oh, next to the rubbish pit.
that's a really big rubbish pit.
I think I need to see. It's okay.
Well, just, it's really important that people know
Yeah.
tourism
They
leads
do
to rubbish
use
pits.
a lot of plastic bags. You know, if you order like drinks or snacks, there's a lot of plastic bag use, isn't there? Which I was like, wow,
and
this
they do
keeps...
charge you.
Because you like drink out of, you put like, if you get like a drink from like a hawker store, like, or if you're out in like a market, they'll like serve it to you in a plastic bag and then they put a straw in it, and it's like really effective way, because it's like, oh, this is like keeping costs down, that's why they can sell it so cheap. But then I'm like, we should do this more in England. And then Jessica's like, we have an issue with plastic bags. I'm like, oh yeah. But then saying that, people serve takeaway stuff in like plastic cups.
Yeah.
That's more plastic, isn't it? Or is it easier to
Yeah.
recycle plastic cups?
We get a lot of takeaways things in plastic containers in
Yeah.
England.
Because they assume you could possibly reuse them.
We do.
I mean, yeah, but then if you order like a lot of like takeaway, there's a lot of plastic containers.
I think people do just throw them away though.
Yeah.
I think they're putting the onus on individual people to recycle, and that doesn't necessarily always work out. Oh, whoops. Wildlife Park. It's one road and we missed the turning. We're back on the right way now though. We're definitely doing fine. Definitely. It is that wildlife park that we missed. Right there.
We've come to the animal park. We finally found us after going past it on the one road that goes out. I remember coming here as a child actually, and I remember it being pretty good. There was like, I feel like it was like, it's probably a bit better than it used to be. There was like a budgerigars that did like little tricks.
Okay, I'm kind of like, well, where are they? Oh, parrots.
Yeah. Oh wow. Anyway. Yum 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 yum. And you need to put it through the bigger hole. With your finger.
You did it!
Fun fact, couples are often monogamous, remaining bonded for life. Yeah.
When I was little, I really wanted a pet lizard, and now I'm not feeling so sure. It's like a mini dinosaur. What is it trying to get at me? Oh my god!
Eyes are on the side of the fish rather than on the front.
So we're finally by the rabbit pen where you can go in and pet the rabbits, and Rufus be like, rabbits, 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 I want to see the rabbits.
How we brought him the whole way around.
Yeah,
The rabbits.
and they're really
rabbits.
cute. The rabbits are very sweet.
Adorable.
Like, oh, so cute. So we're back in the car. It was pretty hot in there, wasn't it?
My feet hurt so much.
I know, because Jessica's feet really swell up in the heat.
I have no idea. Like an old lady.
Yeah. But it was really, I think it was pretty good though. There was loads of animals.
It was great. There were lots of animals.
They all looked pretty well looked after. Maybe they were kept a little bit hungry so that, you know, they came when you want to feed them.
Maybe animals just eat.
Maybe animals eat all the time. I mean, our dogs
don't
eat
know.
all the time. Yeah. Animals eating, Rupert says. Animals eating.
The rabbits were a highlight.
The rabbits are so cute. Rupert
loves
was like in his
rabbits.
element once he got over like the playground. And what else? Oh, the only thing that was a bit sad was the meerkat that was all on its own. But yeah, I didn't like the snakes,
They freaked you out.
especially because there was a regurgitated duck right next to one.
We thought the iguana was hilarious.
The iguana was quite hilarious. I think Mummy's response was more hilarious. Yeah, we should probably tend to our child.
Having a toddler makes you a lot less prepared for any kind. Less prepared for filming.
What do we like about the shop? So I know why we're going.
This is the shop that was like Poundland.
Oh. Do we need anything?
It's waking up. I need to get Diet Coke.
Do they sell that here?
Yeah, they did. So yes, a lot less prepared for filming and whatnot, vlogging, general vlogging. Last time we came to Malaysia, we had everything. We had all of the equipment, all the GoPro stuff,
Drone.
everything.
GoPro.
We had a drone. Yeah, we were hot on it.
This trip, we were like, let's
We
not
were
bother
ready.
taking the drone because
We were like, we don't have time to drone.
I'm not going to be able to look up and make sure my drone is still fine, and also look down and make sure my toddler is still fine, and I will have a dilemma of like.
Such lies, Claudia. Who is between us is the one that pilots the drone? It was me. It was
Yeah,
me.
my three-dimensional. I think that's because I was getting anxious about where the drone was, whereas you're just like la la la. I mean, you did fly into a few trees,
It's really.
and it would be
I don't know why
emergency, like I'm running out of battery, and would like fly
It's
back.
fine just to say I do things well. You don't have to minimize them. The point is, this is what our GoPro looks like this time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's filming this very fascinating dashboard.
Looking good. We did actually check that there was a card in it. We did check that the card was working. We were aware of this broken section, but thought, nah, it's fine. It will still work. But
I was like, why not? We can like just tighten this bit.
But then
here,
what we didn't realise
Oh, that bit, yeah.
was the missing bit that holds that screw on.
Okay, let's go in the $2.60 shop.
Woohoo! Maybe we'll find a screw. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
No, I said that in a weird way.
That was beautiful though.
Hello.
Welcome.
I think it's because you said it anyway.
A lot of people have asked us about travelling as an LGBTQ plus couple and especially as LGBTQ plus parents. I don't know why I say it like that because it's not like we hit every single letter in that acronym there.
No.
No. I'm a lesbian. And you're you.
Yeah. And we just
Women
identify as a
who are
lesbian.
married to each
I
other.
identify as a lesbian / bi, which is probably like what? But I mean, it changes. Sometimes
It's
I'm like,
fine.
I probably should just say I'm bisexual. To be honest, it doesn't really matter because I'm married to Jessica now, and my eyes can't wander anymore.
That's not how it works. Seems like it should be a really easy question to answer, right? Like it should be yes, no, I feel super safe, I don't feel safe. But I think we have to acknowledge that we have a level of safety inbuilt to the fact that we look like Westerners.
I'd say like I don't go out there with any like apprehension about travelling as a couple. But like you say, my experience of that is either don't acknowledge us as a couple, either because they're not interested, they don't care, or they don't think we are. And then the ones that do acknowledge us are mainly acknowledging us as not a couple and are basically pointing out like, what's your relationship? Are you sisters? Are you friends? Where are your husbands? And so when we have those kind of, and so I guess what you mean is like, because we're like, you know, maybe like straight passing or like not completely, I don't know, what's the word? I mean, you have a centric dress, but you're not like, you don't dress in a like particularly androgynous way that might like make it more obvious or like.
I think because it isn't
necessarily part of the culture to have an out and proud, very loud gay scene, that isn't the first thing that pops into their mind.
But then again, it's really hard to say because we're tourists.
Yeah, so we have British accents, and we do also just take precautions. It's not like we are completely open and honest with people. If people outright say to us, like, oh, is she your sister? Sometimes they say, by marriage. But having a baby adds a very different element to it. I think where we used to both just kind of get by and like nod and smile when people would just be like, oh, friends. We'd be like, I mean, we are friends as well. Yeah, we're married, but we're also friends. Then having a baby, the questions are much more direct, and it's much more like, whose baby is it?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting one because, like, the bottom line is, I do feel safe, but that's because we know maybe we're in a privileged situation where people who are going to be homophobic don't see it in us. And if there is any slightest suspicion of it, and we sense that that's going to be received with a negative response, we then will basically lie and say we're sisters, or we're, you know, we will go with their like assumption of, oh, are you best friends? Are you sisters? Like, are you here with your husbands? Sometimes it's just easier just to say yes, because you can kind of sense when someone is asking because they want to rule out the other alternative.
Yeah, there was a lovely, very camp chap in Thailand who asked me like what our relationship was, and I was like, yeah, we're both the mothers. Oh,
but we should also point out that he was basically the, what do you call them, like the
concierge.
He was like the concierge guy at the JW Marriott Hotel in Thailand, which I think therefore is acceptable to say that you're together at that hotel because, one, you're there very much as tourist and you're their guest and they work for the hotel. So I feel like it's not uncommon for them to come across it.
Yeah. And it largely
I definitely
Westerners.
always feel more comfortable to express our sexuality when we're checking into a hotel and they say, just to confirm you want a king size bed. I'm just like, yes. Like, I don't feel nervous or anxious about saying that or even embarrassed by it. And if they did question it more, I'd be like, oh, no, she's my wife. Because I just feel like if you're working in a tourist industry in a country where it's permitted to travel to as a gay couple, I feel like legally I'm able to be there without any prejudice. But obviously someone like Joe Blogs down the street, they are kind of all more entitled to have their opinion in a way and share it with you if they so wish. And that's when I become a little bit more guarded.
Yeah, that's when there's more of a safety
Yeah.
aspect to it and you just have to tread kind of awkward. I think going through airports can sometimes be a bit like, oh, who takes him when we go through this checkpoint?
Yeah.
And sometimes, depending on the airport, I feel a bit more like I want to hand him off to Claudia and have her go through with him.
Most of the time we do. Most of the time when we book flights, we tend to put him with me anyway, like on my ticket and like on my lap, because he looks more like me. But I felt like we had a little bit of a strange encounter with Singapore Airlines, weirdly, from Malaysia to Singapore, where like this guy came out from nowhere. He was one of the air stewards, I think. But
I think it was like a higher up air steward.
Yeah,
because we did not see him.
We didn't see him again. So
we hadn't seen him before. We didn't see him again.
He just kind of wandered up mid-flight and then started questioning us in quite a like Spanish Inquisition way, like not in a friendly kind of making conversation way about like who was Rupert's mother. And why had we been in Malaysia? Where were we going? How long were we going to stay in Singapore?
Where was he born?
Where was he born? And where were we going after Singapore? And it was like, are you like customs?
What kind of passport does he have?
Yeah.
And he was sat on my lap at the time, but Claudia was, and I was by the window, and Claudia was closer to this man. And he said, how old is he? Then he Rupert. And Claudia replied, because she's right next to him, she can hear very well. And then he stared me dead in the eyes and went, how old is your baby? And I was like,
oh, I just answered you. And then it was weird, and it was like, oh, and then I kept it all kind of like polite, and like, it's like, oh yeah, you know, we've just been to Malaysia visiting family. He's like, oh, family in Malaysia. I'm like, yeah. And then he was like, and why are you going to Singapore? I was like, oh, we're going to go see some friends. And then we're like flying back home to England. He's like, oh, but he was born in Malaysia, yeah. And we were like, no, he was born in England. And she was like,
He's British.
Which is weird. Like, and we often got asked by a few other men in Malaysia, like whether when we said like I was the mum, a few people asked like, oh yes, and your husband's Malay. No.
There's this really interesting thing with Rupert where depending on who was the who they perceived to be the mother, they perceived his race to be different. So I went into a play area with him, and it was just the two of us, and these mothers with their children turned around and were like, look, a white baby. And we're like showing him to their children.
Didn't tell me about that.
Oh, that was great. And I would like to get their children, to be interested in him.
Whereas I never got that, and like I said, like people were actually thought he was like even more mixed when I was suddenly the mum.
This little 7-year-old girl came up and was like, he speaks Chinese, yes? And I was like, no, he speaks English and some sign language. And she was like, oh, he needs to learn. And she just got right up in his face and started speaking to him in really fast Mandarin. And was like, I don't think you can imprint your language into his brain, but thank you for trying.
We're on the beach collecting shells.
We are.
Rupert is been a little bit worried about it at first, but now he's starting to enjoy collecting all the shells, aren't you, Rupert?
Yeah, you're okay with putting your feet in now. It's for washing the shells.
Look, this one looks like a little face, Rupert. It's got little eyes.
So, in the countries that we have been to, there isn't, I'd say, a huge difference in how we behave, even though Malaysia is a Muslim country and Thailand is a country which has an LGBTQ plus travel industry. There is a difference though in how we feel.
I would say like, I don't know, like, because maybe we don't realise it, but no, maybe you're right. It's just, it comes back to that hotel holiday thing.
Yeah.
Like when I'm on the beaches, like in a clearly tourist destination where there's lots of other people around from England and Spain and like, you
Australia.
know, basically like, what do you call them? Western countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like tourists who I know have strong LGBTQ plus rights in those countries, even if they themselves are like a straight couple or a straight family, I kind of almost see them as allies because I feel like they're from a place that has those beliefs as a majority, and like to believe that if you're from a country like that, then that is the main way you feel, especially if you're going to then go travelling. I don't know, I just like I don't assume people are homophobic if they're from a state or country that it supports that.
Because you feel you know their views.
Yes.
Whereas...
And I know that, so if I'm walking, so I feel more at liberty to like walk along and hold Jessica's hand. We don't really do kissing.
No.
Ever when we're on holiday out on the streets, unless we're in a country that's like the only place we have is like Rome, like Italy, and where else? I mean, that's because we got engaged there and you can't really not, like, that'd be weird. Where else?
Venice,
like again, Italy,
Spain.
We were with Clara and Evelina.
I went with Rupert.
Yeah, but like you know.
Yeah.
So I guess like Europe, America, LA.
Yeah.
Because it's LA. But like, so I guess you read the room, do you know what I mean? Whereas, whenever we've gone to Malaysia, we don't really kiss for our pictures and things, but we kind of
but
check
we find
a safe space.
we find places where we're a bit more,
but not like completely
there's a bit
remote,
of a distance
because that would be dangerous in
around
itself.
us. Yeah.
Like it's still on a touristy beach, or it's just outside the hotel, or it's on the hotel beach, or it's on the hotel grounds. Like it would be, I think it would be a bit silly of us to like, you know, drive off, find a like secluded beach spot and like start making out and taking photos, because like you don't know who would drive past and see that surrounded by tourists. Like we're staying near my aunt's house, like in the suburbs, or we're like near the apartment that I have out there, then I would say we're like extra cautious about realizing that we are, in the sense that we don't hold hands walking around. Like I don't think I held your hand, or like the only time I did was like when we were just like had just had dinner. We were like walking towards my uncle, my auntie, my cousin, my dad, and like it was like a 20-foot walk, and it was just literally from one shop to them, and all I did was like, you know, when you just like touch each other's fingers a bit, but even then we kind of like, it was only for like a moment, and I was just aware of it because I suddenly realized, oh well, we haven't been doing this, because even in front of like my uncle and auntie and people, like I kind of don't want to show too much.
It's kind of respectful as well.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's not that we assume people are homophobic. It's not that we assume people are thinking bad things about us, or that they have those views, because we know that of course people don't, just because of the country that you're in and the way your government thinks.
Well, just in the same way that I just assumed that people from Western countries that have the popular view is the reverse.
They are
I
liberal.
just assume, I mean,
that's not the way that works. It's that it's an unknown, so you don't want to take that chance.
It's a known fact that the legal system is not for you.
Yes.
You know, if we were residents in Malaysia, we would not legally allowed to be publicly together. Like I think my cousin was basically saying like, you know, people do, but you wouldn't like go shouting around about it.
Yeah, honestly, I've never felt so white. I've also never felt like my nose is so big until...
Someone actually told Jessica recently, basically said that her nose was big. Like she just came out right out with it, like as if it was a compliment.
She's like, wow, your nose is so big, you should share some. Like, I mean, not just that. Excuse me, Claudia's cousin, who is, I don't know, 5, came up to me and he's like, I've never seen a nose so big. And I was like, and his little brother wouldn't stop touching my nose, and his mum just went, he's never seen a white person like you before. I was like, oh,
I mean,
never, like someone so pale, and she went, someone with a nose so big.
I mean, obviously quite a few people have not seen a person quite like you. Like so many people were just like, can I just like take your photo? And we'd be like, oh, do you know like her channel or something? I was like, no, they just like, they're like,
love
no,
big noses.
I just like your fashion. Some people said that, they're like, you know, politer ones. Other people just like, no, I just want to take your photo. It's like, yeah, but why? Just take it. And then like we're laughing as they like walked off, and we're like,
yeah, they take my photo and laugh and walk away, and I'm like, oh, thanks.
yeah. One told her that she looked like a Barbie. So
I was like, I'm okay with this.
I think that was a compliment.
Should I feel self-conscious about my nose?
No. I didn't really know what the best thing to say was, so we're like, no, I'm too tired. So like,
You're just like, no.
I'm just not gonna go. No. Anyway,
thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. I'll still have a big nose.
I think I've got quite a big nose.
Really? You want to do a sideways comparison? Yeah.
Put your answers in the comments.
How is that a competition?
You like winning.
I do like winning, thanks. So please, I'll have a competition. I finally win. Right. See you next week for whatever adventures we get up to then.
Bye.
Bye.